to Living Abroad, the podcast. And Awbhut Amla, thank you so much for coming back and grace us with your presence and your knowledge. You know, I'm always like happy to talk to you. Every time I'm stuck, every time I'm confused, I just want to have a chat with you. And I always feel knowledgeable like afterwards. And thank you so much. I know it's so hard, like now in South Africa with stage 6, load shedding, and we've been putting this off. Thank you for making the time to talk to me.
No, thank you for having us. We appreciate the platform as well. Yes.
And I mean, remember when Queen Elizabeth died and I said, oh, we need to have a chat because I felt triggered, you know, and we just couldn't be able to because of load shedding. And if you can just like explain to people who don't have any idea what your lives are like with this load shedding thing.
You know, it's quite sad, you know, here in South Africa that I mean, we find ourselves, you know, having electricity in a day for only 4 hours at max, you know. Otherwise you are in blackouts. And you know, the pity is that we all know that this is done in a desperate attempt to privatize the power utility by the sitting president and his collective government of the ANC. Because we are of the firm belief that the ANC remains the tool that it's administering in the interest of the minority, being the bourgeois, you know. So it's very painful that, I mean, over 59 million population, it's subjected to blackout simply because of the politicians wants to eat the crumbs that the bourgeois is going to give them once they buy the power utility. And this is not surprising. I mean, we are fully aware that the ANC is due for its Congress. I mean, the 55th Congress that it's due to sit in December. Now, those who've donated to the Ramaphosa or the CR17 campaign in a bid for him to clinch the presidency in 2017, they want their payback because of they are not guaranteed whether Cyril will come back or not. Now, in the desperate measures, they had to bring back this, you know, load shedding. The worst of all, to bring it at the stage 6, you know, at the stage 6, it's worse, you know. I mean, we're going to see a lot of companies or businesses shutting down. We're going to experience job shedding, skyrocketing. I mean, the living condition is deteriorating. You can imagine, I mean, people without electricity, you can't do anything. I mean, the small businesses that are trying to survive, to feed their families, they are not coping, you know, they eventually need to abandon it. You know, for instance, yesterday I went to a car wash. I couldn't wash the car because of they did not have any electricity. But on my side, it wasn't even about the washing the car. What about the guys who are washing the car? I mean, where at the end of the month, where are they going to get the money to survive?
And then they complain about the rate of crime when people who are trying.
Exactly. Hence, we are saying that in order for any leader to change the living conditions of the South Africans permanently, you need to do away with the neoliberal policy that the ANC has imposed to us for the past 28 years. It has never worked. It will never work. All these policy positions that they've proposed, they are far-fetched from the reality of us as the African people, particularly the black marginalized and excluded people. So this is our situation. I mean, you must juggle in everything. All the meetings, we must try to juggle them within the concentrated time, you know, because after you are load shedded.
Mean to say like there's no electrical like crisis. This thing is all made up by the government.
Look, we do not have a power crisis. If we had a power crisis, why are we still supplying other African countries with the electricity? If we had a crisis. But also, we should remember that I think it was Matsela Koko and Brian Molefe. For a very long time, they were able to stop load shedding. Now, you have Andre de Rood, the white fellow who does not know what he's doing. Worst of all, the man is just a business administrator. But truth of the matter is that some of the employees of the ESCOM came out. There are videos there where they are switching off, showing that these things is just man-made. There is no power crisis in South Africa. The capitalist class are interested in procuring the power utility. And the only way they can do that, you must defunct the power utility.
So they can justify. So they can justify it.
They can justify. People will be angry that this thing is dysfunctional. We don't have a power. Therefore, privatize it. That's simple logic.
But you mean to say, like, as corrupt as the ANC is, they've been maintaining the power grid this whole time. So they've not eaten the money, they've not looted anything. So the power grid is 100%. They are just doing this so that they can privatize.
Look, ANC is nothing other than the T-girl of the bourgeois class. We draw these lessons from the teachings of Vladimir Lenin to say that the state, the role of the state, it is to ensure that they administer in the interest of the elites, meaning the bourgeois. Now, you break down this analysis to say that since the ANC came into an office, let's just take the term of Ramaphosa to simplify things. Let's not complicate. When Ramaphosa came into an office, he was elected on a basis of saying that the man is a millionaire, he's corrupt, good integrity, all those things. Now today, Ramaphosa has sealed his banking details for those who donated in the CR17. He can't disclose public that elected him on a basis that the man is corrupt-free, has an intact integrity. He can't disclose that. There's a palabala saga. He went to court, he says all the evidence that is presented and that is shared to even public protector must be sealed. Now, the only logic that you then come back to, it is to say that this man is nothing other than a puppet of the white monopoly capital. Now, everything that he does, it is his masters. You take a SAA. We did not have a problem. In fact, white people caused the problem in the SAA. And they then used the black people as scapegoat. You can go to all these SOEs. All the problems are caused by these ANC leaders. And the reason for this, it is because of they are accustomed to eating crumbs while their masters are taking everything.
But we know we have an idea of, sorry to cut you, we have an idea of who Jacob Zuma's masters were the Guptas. So who do you think is behind, like your theory, who is behind Ramaphosa?
Look,
Who is Ramaphosa's Guptas?
look, as a matter of fact, I always say is that the problem is the ANC. That's where the genesis of our problems as South Africans starts.
Yes.
Now,
we can agree on that.
Yeah, the ANC will always be handled, even if you attempt to deviate. We can also say Zuma was handled by the Guptas, which I partly disagree, because of Guptas were, by the way, they did not even do anything. Surely they were eating crumbs like any other person that is emerging, you know. At least with Zuma, you can say he was empowering some black people there and there, and he empowered even those clique of Guptas. But with Ramaphosa, he has concentrated everything to Rupert's and Oppenheimers. If you check everything, literally everything, including those who are going to get more stake on these IPPs, it's Rupert. You know, everywhere it is Rupert. When before de Klerk passed away, in fact, when Ramaphosa got elected, he was given a script, and de Klerk leaked it, because when he said if Ramaphosa stick to the plan, we would never have a problem. What plan was he referring to? You know, so
Same Nelson Mandela plan.
Well, we cannot even begin to go back there. Because of Ramaphosa, he had disappeared in politics for a very long time. Because he did not get what he wanted, he disappeared in politics. He went, you know, to dine with his masters. He came back to come and execute the mandate as they prescribed. And so far, he's doing well. I mean, if you check all our challenges, Ramaphosa is winning. The only challenge that we're heavy is that we, as the South Africans, who are not angry enough to say enough is enough.
Why though? Because I'll give you an example, right? You will know, because you follow politics. You know what happened to Boris Johnson here in the UK, right?
Sure.
I mean, the problem started when this man, during the lockdown, he basically broke lockdown rules that he was himself and his party were implementing, right? You talk about a guy drinking wine and eating cheese and crackers while he's telling people to stay at home. I mean, he could not be forgiven for that up until the day he resigned. So now, if you look at the Phala Phala farm saga, and to think that this man is still in power, why are we not, like, why don't we take corruption so serious? Why are we so forgiving?
You know, we must be honest. You know, we are damaged as the African people, particularly Black people. And this matter is very complex. We should not take it as a light matter. One, you look at you know, the transition from the apartheid to the so-called democratic state, you know, of the ANC. If you go and speak to elders, the trauma that they incurred during the apartheid, they are still stuck to say that the ANC has done, you know, something that no one can do for them. Now, the tricky part is that, you know, the apartheid was a system that oppressed you physically and otherwise mentally, and they took away the resources. Now, when the ANC comes into power, they give you a political power with a void of economic power. They know that you'd appreciate the political power, you'd appreciate the human rights that comes with the political power. Now, our people will always think that anyone that offers solution is far-fetched from the reality because of where they are coming from. That is why if you check, the huge chunk of the voters of the ANC is elders.
Yeah.
So if you are able to go back to elders and break away the stigma to say that the ANC is the god to their lives, I can tell you that the ANC will lose power tomorrow. But also, we should not limit this to that. The education system, in fact, this the economic system and the entire system, the manner in which it's structured, it programs us and conditions us to have hope on the ANC and to think that the ANC is doing something better. You check the education system. Our education system continues to condition us. There is no one who thinks out of the box. If you check, for an example, the history students, they learn nothing progressive. In fact, what is presented to them, it is to bash the progressive ideologies. You check, I did economics at the first year when I was doing computer science at the University of Pretoria. In the entire book of the economics, I'm saying to you, communism and socialism is discussed under one paragraph of 3, if not 4 lines. But capitalism, or the so-called free market system, covers the entire book. They will tell you the most progressive economic framework. It is the free market, blah, 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 blah. But if you check, if you step outside and analyze holistically, everywhere where they're saying this capitalism is doing well, you must check their unemployment rate. You must check their poverty level. And come back and tell us that how do you measure a progress of a system while at least you are still having inequalities? Interest in politics.
Of course, because like there are people like myself, when I'm like, there's no hope in politics, you know, it doesn't matter who you vote for. It's like we are doomed. And if you're talking about like colonial history, that's where we are now. And it seems like you are saying they are still lingering around. I'll talk about South Africa because that's where we're from. The colonial powers are still lingering around in South Africa. What is there left for anyone to steal or to loot?
Look, we're a rich country. Let's first acknowledge that. There will always be resources to be looted. There will always be. The unfortunate thing is that at the rate that we're moving, soon we'll be left with nothing.
Are you talking about gold and diamonds?
The minerals, I mean, there are a lot of things that we're running out. Very soon, South Africa will be like any other ordinary country where we would not have. Remember, our pride remains our minerals. You check our land, particularly agrarian land. 80% it's still in the hands of the white elites. In fact, there was a report, I think it was 2 years back, where it was depicting that at least 1,000 approximately 1,000 people are controlling the economy of South Africa, which constitute of over 59 million people, which is very bad. It is very bad. I mean, now you ask yourself, the monopolies continues to intensify, they take over. You check what is happening. For instance, with this load shedding, all these small entities are collapsing. And who's thriving is the big entities. Beyond the issue of load shedding, once load shedding is done away with and the power utilities, it's privatized, we have nothing. Obviously, there will be job reductions, all those things. The poverty level will worsen up. Why I'm saying that? It is because the small enterprises would have collapsed. Now, would be left with your ShopRite, your Pick and Pay, your Checkers. And if you look at all these, big entities, all of them, they are owned by one individual. If they are not owned by one individual, they are owned by people who are working together.
Your ministers or even your president could have shares in some of them. Yeah,
well, I always say that they eat crumbs. Even if there's no shares. I mean, you check, who is this guy? Christopher Wiz, the ShopRite guy. He doesn't owe these guys any shit. He can give them that 80 million, or no, I got what I wanted, go. What is 80 million to compared to what the man is doing? It's a change.
But just make sure black businesses don't thrive in the townships. Even ShopRite is in the townships now.
They are going to townships.
Yeah.
I'm saying to you, all these black-owned entities are collapsing. Soon enough, we're going to have a franchise of car washes. The sad thing is that where the death of the Queen Elizabeth should have at least brought a consciousness to our leaders to say that she who looted our minerals and who ensured that were enslaved has died. Let us rebel against everyone. Instead, your president would rather leave a crisis in the country, rush to go and attend the funeral of a person that, even if her sister or his mother can pass away, the child of Queen Elizabeth will never even set their foot here to come and give a moral support. Even if, that's how painful it is. The man rushes. When he get there, he creates an impression that he wasn't aware that there's a power crisis. He says, no, I will cut my trip short to go and address this. Funny
and
thing,
he attended the funeral already, so he's
exactly
done what he came here to do.
He's done. He just cut the tour. He comes here, he have a virtual meeting. He's back. He had the virtual meeting.
Now I want to talk to you about the relationship between our current leaders and the monarchy and the royal family. What is the relationship there?
Look, the ANC will forever be indebted to these guys. The ANC had an opportunity to outrightly fight these guys, but they opted not. The inception of the ANC, in fact, when they mobilized the society towards the establishment of the ANC, was to fight for repossession of the land, and ultimately the self-determination of the black oppressed. But funny enough, after ANC was established, John Langalihle Dube led the delegation to the monarch. The sad thing is that I'm reminded that I will be load shedded within an hour. That time the load shedding didn't
just when, yes.
Fine. Now, John Langalihle, after the series of letters that they wrote to the monarch, they led a delegation to go and discuss and plead in the discussion not to demand that they want the ownership of the land for the land to be returned to the rightful owners. But in fact, they go and say that at least give us a portion.
Please.
Please. They are begging. After their delegation returned, they continue to write letters. And that's where anyone, if we are honest in reflecting about our history, you would have deduced that our problems are not dating from yesterday. Our problems has always been there. And the ANC has never been a viable vehicle to solve our problems. The 1943 generation came in and said, why are we begging? Why are we cooperating with the people that are molesting us? Why are we not fighting? And guess what happened to them? Majority of those who raised these pertinent questions, they were chucked out. Post that, after they were chucked out and stripped of the leadership positions, all those things. In 1959, the PAC inception and assembles. Now, they come and bring new politics. The ANC has always had a strategy to counter and manage the anger of the people of South Africa.
That's their job.
That's how deep their relationship is. If you want to trace this, you must trace it from the historical point of view and in the current politics that are unfolding. Now, you tell me, is there any leader who's capable to defy from the ANC? All these ANC leaders, after they get elected, they must go get anointed. Why? You know, it's because of these sunset clauses that they've signed, you know. The agreement that they didn't disclose. That's why we always say that we need to know what were the deals that the ANC made in order for them to get the so-called democratic dispensation. Because of it has never happened that anyone can relinquish power voluntarily without resisting, unless if there's a deal. It teaches us that.
So we are just bluffing when we are talking, because I mean, like with Elizabeth's death, there's these talks about, oh, you see, even the crown that she's wearing, the diamonds, one is coming from India and the other one is coming from South Africa. And there's talks about like what's in the British Museum, because these people are still making money off what they've taken from all these countries. So we are just bluffing when we say, can there be talks of giving back what you guys have stolen or taken?
Look, for as long as the talks are led by the ANC, it's a talk show. It's like McG hosting Dr. Malinga.
Yeah.
You know, entertaining people, bringing news to people. Other than that, there's nothing that will come out. Fact of the matter is that, for instance, how do you attend the funeral of the Queen while you know that the head of King Hinta, it's still there in a museum? You know, so I'm saying to you The ANC does not have any business in liberating the people of South Africa and ultimately Africa. They do not have any business. Any rational leader that has a business in liberating the South Africans and ultimately Africa and the world at large knows for a fact that the unity of Africans is sacrosanct.
Mm.
The ANC still strives on the ticket of xenophobia.
Mm.
The ANC still believes that the borders must be intact. The ANC still believes in worshipping the monarch.
Mm.
They will never do away with those guys. If the ANC cannot table a motion and vote for a motion for expropriation of land without compensation, what makes us think that ANC can suddenly change overnight?
Mm.
You know, the basic demonstration that the ANC can do, it is to expropriate the land in the interest of the black oppressed people.
But that will never happen. Not in our
That
lifetime.
will never happen. For as long as we continue to vote for the ANC and for as long as the ANC is in majority.
Yeah, and
We
be
need
robbed.
to educate our people that they must know their enemy and their target.
Mm.
That's the if you know, my wish was that to counter this government, you need to educate our people to say that guys who are unemployed, who are screwed, we must know whom we must target. If you want resources, you want to rob people, don't go and rob your fellow on the street. He's frustrated like you.
Mm. But they're going to be short most there, they know. And Ramaphosa is going to protect those Mapun.
We are likely to kill them before they kill. Even if they can be short, but majority of the people will be suffering.
The majority, yeah.
But also remember the strategy is not even about that. The strategy is to make the elites uncomfortable until they say, oh no, this situation it's not sustainable.
Mm.
You see. So, but in fact,
no, we'll talk,
yeah,
but I think we need to be more angry, like at the situation. And I like what you said about the food. We need to make sure that our people are able to feed themselves.
We need to
And
produce.
the water, yeah, and the water.
We need to produce. That's the only thing. Young people must go into farming. Young people must open farms.
The funding is gone. They're not giving the funding to the youth. They're not funding them.
Let's come up with a mechanism to fundraise.
Mm.
Let's come up with mechanism. Let's. But the most important thing, we can do all those things as long as we are under the government of the ANC. We are not going to thrive. I always say that people must go and read the industrialization policy of the EFF.
Mm.
And then you go read the government policy. You realize the huge gap, and you realize that you need EFF in government as soon as yesterday.
Kutwa Ukraine, Nancy 1010, and then sunflower, we're getting it from Ukraine. Why are we getting Ilanti Kukuka out of Africa?
Why are we getting chickens in America? You know, I mean, we have many productive land here. Why are we not producing our own rice?
Oh my, there's so much I want to talk to you about. Even the war Yamakosa. I just wanted to understand even how can these people fight for 100 years? Why couldn't these leaders help each other? You know, there's a lot. We'll spend the whole
and conquer. But one day we'll have a proper discussions around these things. We must just reflect, without the time constraints.
No, Awbhut, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.